became a diver when I was 15, and then in college, I volunteered for a cleanup dive, and I remember seeing diapers and sanitary napkins and cigarette butts, 90, 60 feet below underwater. There, my choices suddenly became different. I heard about this issue called the Rape of the Philippine Seas, which had coral reefs twice the size of Manila extracted. And when that happened, I realized that I wanted to pursue this because I couldn't sleep and I couldn't eat, and I thought that was like a breakup. And I decided to put up Save Philippine Seas, which is a movement to protect the country's marine resources with a handful of other people. My dream really is for the Philippines to be known as the center of marine biodiversity instead of what it is right now, which is the center of adversity. And anything illegal and destructive can be found here. And all the jobs or projects that I accept are aligned to that. Whether as a writer, I write about ecotourism sites or eco-friendly way to travel or eco-friendly products. And then I also speak in front of schools and corporations and local government units about protecting the environment and most especially the seas. The misconception of environmental work is that it's just for the environment, but it's also about the quality of life that we have. It means clean water, clean air, clean food, clean environment, and whatever choice we make for the earth is also the choice we make for ourselves. I mean, nobody wants to live in a dirty earth. I think conservationists and environmentalists have to operate with that in mind if we want to move further. We won't understand it if it's just about animals and plants. It's also about livelihood. In the project site that I have in Malapascua, which is north of Cebu, there are sharks there, and it's the only place where you can see that kind of shark. They're called treasure sharks. And it is the source of livelihood of that entire island because of diving. And then from diving, there are resorts. And then there are mga masahista. There are souvenir shops. So it's the protection of that environment, giving life and giving livelihood to the community. I think it's just properly framing the issue, because I think it would be unfair to say that one issue is more important than the other. I think all of them are important, and there has to be parallel efforts in addressing all these issues. For example, education. The kind of education system that we have obviously has a lot of room for improvement. But if you improve that, and for example, you incorporate environmental concepts or concepts of sustainable living in the curriculum, or even provide materials that will engage the students instead of putting them to sleep, then we would have a better chance for a cleaner environment. And also sort of bringing them out the classroom, because right now one of my biggest sort of problems is that a lot of Filipinos don't know how to swim, and that should be taught in schools because it's a survival skill. It's not just for sports, but number one is a survival skill with all the storms that we're getting and the floods. According to this this organization, there are 6,000 Filipino children who die every year because they don't know how to swim. So that for me is alarming. And if you can incorporate that in the education system, that would make a big difference. But in addition to it being a life skill, it's also a way of showing kids what lies beneath. Because there are so few people who swim, they also don't see that there's life underwater. And one of the things that we did early this year was teach the teachers how to snorkel and swim. And even though they had been living in the island all their lives, they've never snorkeled. And when they did, they were so scared that we literally had to hold their hands. And then after that, they were so surprised. They were like, I didn't know there were so much fish, or that corals were alive, that they're not rocks, And that makes a big difference in the choices that we make. If we're passing through a body of water, will we throw the piece of candy wrapper in the sea? But you won't, because you know that it stays there and it ends up there and other animals eat it and we eat those fish. So it's the circle of life. It's the hoop that never ends. The big aha moment happened when I found out about the large-scale coral extraction. That was May 2011, May 2011. Somebody tweeted it to me, and then I saw the site, and then I started reading more about it. There were 161 endangered turtles that were taken. and they were going to be turned into like stuffed animals that you would put up on the ceiling. You can't say no to it. It's like a nagging feeling. It can't just be all about love. It has to be about the things that bother you. I heard somebody say that the way to live is to be in a perpetual state of disturb. And when there are things that bother you, you have to be part of the solution and see what you can do to address those issues. One of my biggest causes really is to stop global whining. And that's what I always say. It's not global warming, it's global whining. But if you know these things are happening, what are you doing about it? You can't just bitch about it, or you can't just blame the government or blame your parents or blame, other people to fix it for you. You have to ask yourself, okay, what can I do? What am I doing? Started Save Philippine Seas in May 2011, about the same time as the coral extraction issue. And I guess I've just been really lucky that the time is right to be pursuing these causes. So it's really about being brave and having that courage to do something. And you can't make excuses na, what if I do this? What if the government agencies turn me down? Or what if I don't get the sponsorship? But the thing is, if you keep pursuing that cause and people see that you're sincere about it, people will listen and people will give. So for example, in the Shore Conservation Project, so I had that partner, the Future for Nature Foundation, to enable me to start it. Along the way, when people see that there are results and that you're really sincere and honest about what you're doing, you gain so many followers and supporters.